Okay, the first question. Earlier, when we spoke of defections, you mentioned something about the fact that Jesus has similar defections. Would you explain? Answer. Yes, such defections are nothing. The public should not think it's strange. This time in which we live, we had the actual spirit of God moving among the people. The Lamb, I love this man. He explained that you shouldn't be surprised at these defections, hypocrites, lip professors, slanderers, backbiters, haters. They all 5% had that. If you're Prophet Muhammad, his followers, if you're Jesus, his followers, if you're Abraham, Noah, they all had people that was with him and then wasn't with him. Now, I mean, Moses and Aaron. Now, I mean, Korah rose up. He was one renowned in the temple. Now, I mean, he was, he's top dog in the temple. He's a crack teacher. But at some point, with all that information he was teaching, all that information he had in his head, he turned into their enemy and tried to get the other believers to go against the one that already showed and proved to them that he was a true believer. He tried to get them to go against Moses. Sad to say, he died a hypocrite. Now, I mean, 2,000 years later, Jesus, right there at the table, you got Judas selling him out for 30 pieces of silver. Now, I mean, Judas wasn't a bad guy. Judas wasn't a disbeliever. He wanted to test. He wanted to prove Jesus' teachings. His thing was he was misguided. He was misinformed. He misunderstood critical aspects of the theology and the methodology of Yahshua, of Jesus. Now, I mean, and as a result, he lost faith and turned into the enemy of Jesus. Now, I mean, same thing in the time of Prophet Muhammad of 1400 years ago. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Thoughts of peace be upon all the prophets of God. Now, I mean, Absalom rose up against him. Now, I mean, you had Korah, you had Abdullah ibn Ubay. All these, Abdullah, he was like a top general. This dude was a strong military dude. Now, I mean, he talked that radical stuff. But at the end of the day, he wanted them to kill the holy prophet. He wanted, he became an enemy against the true believers and rose up against them. He didn't just slander, he tried to get others to go against him. So if you're teaching the messenger teachings, if you're a student follower of Elijah Muhammad, you believe he's the Christ. Just like he picked up his cross, you got to pick your cross up. Just like he had Judas, his Judases, you're going to have your Judases. Now, I mean, they going to hate you. They going to slander you. That's all in the stroke. That proves that you're with God. That shows and proves that the supreme Allah God who came to person master Muhammad is with you. Why? Because when you go through them dark and narrow valleys, now I mean, that gives Master Farah Muhammad the opportunity to show that his greatest strength is made manifest through your weakest, your most darkest moments. Now I mean, to show and prove that the black man is God. Now I mean, now the thing about your critics and your haters is this: no matter how much money they got, when Wallace is doing this, he got 25,000 people in the stadium. He came to Philadelphia. This book right here is that I showed you on the Wisdom Wallace. He's physically in Philadelphia. In fact, I'm gonna see if I can find that picture of the Civic Center back in ¡75. He put up the giant American flag. Now, when we put the flag up in the Nation of Islam, like in back of me, pardon me, in back of me, we have the American flag right there and the flag of Islam right there. Now, I mean, this is the message teaches to do that because that's our actual fact board. Now, I mean, we know the science of that flag, the red, white, and blue. Shout out to a beloved brother, Dr. Ali. He just did a crack dissertation yesterday. I was watching some of. He basically was showing how the red, white, and blue is not from white folks. I mean, he's showing like this the Aboriginal stuff. These colors was used in South America. I would tell him it was used all over the world. Now, I mean, the message teaches us that one of the 24 scientists, the professor, he's the one that broke down the science of this flag. He the one that designed that. Now, I mean, so them red stripes representing freedom, the white stripes representing the 6,000-year ruler of the devil, and the 13 stripes, he was breaking down the 13 areas, but it's deeper than that. It goes back into the, not millions, not billions, into the trillions of years, according to Messenger Elijah Muhammad. He said originally we had 13 tribes Shabazz. We now have 12. One got lost in the deportation of Amun because one guy thought that he could force everybody to speak the same dialect. And symbolically, this is what we see today. Everybody think that everybody got to be with Farrakhan. Every guy got to be with Salas Muhammad. Everybody got to be with Allah, the Father, Clarence 13X. Everybody got to be a revolutionary with Malcolm X. Everybody got to be a Pan-African. Everybody got to be a Christian. Everybody got to be an atheist. Everybody got to be a vegetarian. Everybody got to be dark-skinned. Everybody got to be light-skinned. Everybody got to get money. Everybody got to be poor. Everybody got to be free. Everybody got to be in the penitentiary. It's like tricknology, divide and conquer. When you juxtapose the tricknology of Satan, now I mean, our ever open enemy, we don't live in that kind of universe. Now I mean, let me stop here. Y'all know I'll get carried away breaking this stuff down. All right, let's go back to the second question. Now this is the one that I want you to understand. This book, Message to the Black Man. Let me see for a minute. Pardon me. Okay, short version. Message to the Black Man in America, copyright 1965 by Elijah Muhammad, printed in the United States of America, all rights reserved. All right, so in 1965, it was formally published, all right? But the book is way before 1965. These are actually speeches, articles, writings, etc., interviews, what have you, the Messenger, compiled not by Messenger Elijah Muhammad. Message to the Black Man is actually from the followers of Messenger Elijah Muhammad. In the beginning of the book, he tells you he like to thank the followers that put this book together. You know what I mean? They the ones that edited it. You know what I mean? They did a decent job. You can't. I appreciate Message to the Black Man. It resurrect me. You know what I mean? You read this joint, but it's nothing like when you see the original article that they got this stuff from, you'd be like, oh man, you want the real stuff. You want the original. I mean, you want the edited versions. You know what I mean? So this is why I always seek out that raw teachings of the Messenger. Now I mean, it's like Master Muhammad Father paying great sums of money. Now I mean, buying wisdom and books from people all over the planet Earth and teaching that to his son. Now I mean, it's like, you know, a lot of people, I'm a cheapskate, but a lot of people spend money on this, that, and the other. But when it comes to literature, I ain't got no problem spending money for the literature. I'm gonna make it happen. Now I mean, I don't work for the devil, none of that kind of stuff. I do for self. I make it happen. I know where I'm at in the hells of North America. I don't do nothing spooky. I show and prove the teachers of Elijah Muhammad. I mean, but long story short, get your literature. Now, I mean, study the Messenger's teachings directly and divinely if you can, and put them into practice. All right, so here's the second question. Well, now, if in time, sir, your grandson, Sharif, or your son, Wallace, or Malcolm, ever expressed the desire to return to follow you again, would you accept them? Answer. This is the answer, word for word, by Messenger Elijah Muhammad. There is nothing unforgivable the Holy Quran teaches you. The only thing that is unforgivable is this, that you will not accept Allah as God and not accept his messenger as his messenger. These two things are one. We say the belief in Allah is the belief in the messenger of the prophet of Allah. The belief in the messenger or the prophet of Allah is a belief in Allah. If you disbelieve in one, you disbelieve in both. You cannot believe in one and disbelieve in the other. This is the knowledge the world has not realized. This is the knowledge the world, not me, not you, but the whole world has not realized. And this is what God wants the world to know. When God chooses his representative for the people, he speaks to the people through that representative. Let me pause right there, because a lot of people get spooky when you hear about the representative. Imam Worthy Muhammad was the representative of the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X was the representative of the Nation of Islam. When you go against Master Fard Muhammad and the Messenger's teachings, it is at that point that the believers disbelieve that particular representative in that particular area of his or her life. That doesn't mean Wafdi Muhammad didn't teach truth. I would say 90% of what he taught is true. That don't mean Malcolm X wasn't teaching. Malcolm was the messenger's creme de la creme. Now, I mean, Malcolm was that boy. You can't take that from him. Now, I mean, you can't hate on father-in-law for teaching the lessons in the street and sparking the young boys and young earths out there on them streets and giving them knowledge and stuff. You know how many lives they saved? You know how many lives the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan have saved? I ain't talking about just a 1,000,000-man march. I'm talking that behind the scenes, day by day, getting them off the liquor and the drugs and out helping brothers and sisters in the penitentiary, and brothers getting the final call and wanting to do better and clean themselves up and giving up that street life and doing for self, opening up their own businesses. Brothers, you know what I mean, getting suited and booted, homeless people, prostitutes, drug addicts, drug dealers, killers. Now I mean, Farrakhan, Malcolm, Jeremiah Shabazz, Imam Wolfden, they didn't save countless people worldwide. So I personally can't take that from them. I respect and love all of them in that sense. But at the same time, if they, for whatever reasons, go against the will of Allah in person and his first, last, and only messenger, I have to have the common sense to be like, yeah, I'm with Malcolm on all it. But when Malcolm got to going against the messenger and publicly going on to the stuff about the messenger having babies, it's like, come on, man. You know what I mean? You know, we can't judge a law's messenger. You know what I mean? You like, come on, you really tripping now. You know what I mean? Like, I respect and love all the other stuff. All the stuff you did for the brothers getting locked up, police brutality. You're on point on a lot of stuff. But when the white man asked you, is there anything that a white person could do, and you said no, that's not the messenger teachings. The messenger is like, what you mean? Master Muhammad's mother was white. The messenger teaches that there's white Muslims of faith. Good done by anyone has his reward. You see, the white people that strive for freedom, justice, equality, they get their blessings in the hereafter too. They don't come to the hereafter. It's not an integrated hereafter, but they get to live in peace, truth, freedom, justice, and equality. Now, I mean, you know, that's the messenger teachings. Now, I mean, you know, so it's like, I ride and die with Malcolm. I ride and die with all of his representatives. But at the same time, they may teach things that I just personally disagree with. I love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I just don't. The Ron L. Hubbard, the Scientology, the messenger coming back, and he's on the mother plane. I personally just don't believe that part. That don't mean that I can't follow, support, and love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I look at him not just as the national representative. I look at him as the universal representative. Ain't nobody teaching the teachings like Khan. I mean, you know, Imam Wafdi Muhammad, he's the one that broke that Bible and Quran down for us besides Messenger Elijah Muhammad. I recognize this with the Bilalians. Nowadays, a lot of them became Sunni or what have you. I mean, Salafi, whatever. But them brothers, they was deep into the Arabic, the Quran, Salat, and things of that nature there. You know what I mean? You know, and you know, I studied that science too. And I mean, and I just didn't reach the same conclusions they reach. You know what I mean? But one of the things with Imam Wafdi Muhammad, he didn't believe Master Fard Muhammad was a law in person. Most people don't. I respect that. You know what I mean? You know, if you got 100% of people, I'm in the minority. I'm a 5%. I'm a poor righteous teacher. I mean, you know, that's all I'm striving to be, is like, you know, a faithful servant to a law God who came in person, Master Fard Muhammad. And I don't, you know, go physically or slanderously against anyone. My thing is, as far as the teachings, you know, I have to defend the messenger teachings with the messenger teachings. Now, I mean, I'm nobody in the universal scheme of things. I'm just a little atom in this thing, if you will. Now, I mean, but you know, I do love Messenger Elijah Muhammad's teachings, and I have seen over the last 40 years FOI stand up strong, and then they go mixing the teachings with all other ideologies. And when I look at the results, it's not as strong and as viable and relevant as when they were FOI and MGT. Not to me. To them, it may be. They may be, oh, I left out, I'm now this, I'm that, I'm with this leader, I'm studying this, I'm mixing this with the teachers. I'm like, listen, man. And I mean, that's fine. But I just love the original divine and direct teachers of Elijah Muhammad. So the message says, when God chooses his representative for the people, he speaks to the people through that representative. And if the people will accept that representative, we call them prophets, apostles, or messengers, then they are accepting Allah. So here in this context, when the messenger speaks of representative, he's not talking about a minister. He's talking about a divine appointed prophet or Nabi, a divinely appointed Rasul or messenger such as himself. Okay. But if they reject him and still say they believe in Allah, they are considered enemies of Allah and disbelievers, because that is Allah and that representative, and you cannot accept one without accepting the other. You have got to accept both. You cannot get the blessings of Allah if you reject his messenger. Now, these boys that you were referring to, they do not worry me. I do not give my time arguing with them or talking about why they believe or disbelieve. I do not even argue with them because I knew these things in the beginning. I knew they would act like this. Some of them. I was told about this 34 years ago. What? Did you hear the messages now? Let's look at the mathematics of this Islam. Let's go back in it. I was told about this 34 years ago. Oh, I got to zoom in on that. There you go. I was told about this 34 years ago. But they did not know these things. And I am not excited, as the public would be, or as the public would like to see. In some cases, if the son disbelieves in his father, in some cases, if the son disbelieves in his father must be wrong. But this is not so when it comes to a messenger of God. If we say that is true, then it stands true in the common life of the family. There are some children who never sincerely accept their father as they should. There are some fathers. See, the messenger being fair. He's saying, like, sometimes the son could be wrong. Sometimes the pop could be wrong, too. You know what I mean? We know that growing up in the wilderness of North America. There are some children who never sincerely accept their father as they should. There are some fathers who never accept their children as they should. So this is the nature of the human family of the earth. And when it comes to spiritual teachings, it is also the same. Not all of the family of a messenger are such as Noah and Lot. They do not always have true believers, but that did not detract one atom from his messengership. You do not take advantage of that unless you get into war or trouble with God. You do not say, I do not believe in him because his own wife or his own son does not. Why should I follow him? You will be getting yourself in trouble because that is given. I do not care anything about those who fall away from me after I pointed out the truth to them. And despite this, they get wrong and go away from that truth. All praises due to Allah. All right. He said, I am not responsible for this. For whatever they say against me, it is against themselves. Think about that. Whatever they say against the message is really against themselves. What they preach and tell the people in order to get the people to disbelieve in me is much like Absalom and his father David. Now he's giving you prophecy. People don't understand all of the stuff you see in this lifetime in your life. You be looking at it like, oh, the messenger, he had sex with the MGTs. He had these love childs and this, that, and the other, all this stuff. And it's all written in prophecy. You see all these stories in this, everything that you see happening in the nation. Listen what I'm saying. Listen what I'm saying, family. Everything you see happening in the nation of Islam is written in the Bible and Holy Quran and the prophecies. You just may not understand it. And therefore you go on the wrong side. And those that are with Master Fard Muhammad and those who Master Fard Muhammad is with will be the victors in the end. During that little phase, I mean, you might believe like, oh, look at this, the nation's falling apart. Look at this, Elijah Muhammad. This, nah, the messenger's the message, regardless of the age of mess. Now, I mean, Absalom stole the affection of the people. He stole it. Absalom stole the affection of the people because he thought he looked better and younger than David. He thought, therefore, the people would follow, that he could steal the people over to himself and get rid of his father as king and be king himself. But he was not to be king. The man that was to be king had yet to be known. That was Solomon. These facts are all put there to deepen our knowledge, and time repeats these things over again and again. Time repeats, family. History repeats itself. If you take the same, it could be 13 FOIs and MGTs in a little tiny town, and one of them will rise up as a hypocrite over the other 12. And they'll try to divide the rank and take 3-4 brothers with them. Oh, he this, that, and the other, or she this, that, and the other. And they bite that brother or sister back out. They'll put the salt on that back and eat that back out. They'll take cold knives and hot bullets. Oh, you should kill him. Oh, no, he's this, that, she's this, that, and the other. And then when you look at it in an empirical way, you'll realize you can't do what he's doing. You can't do what she has already done. Your works is null and void. Allah's not with you. What is you talking about? You hating. So, like the rap song say, you just got to wipe the dust off your shoulder. You got to be like, hi haters, hi haters. That's how the messenger is. Like, he told Malcolm, he run around Egypt slandering the messenger. The messenger's like, you see how Malcolm threw mud all in my eyes? Know what I mean? He said, when he threw the mud in my eyes, you know, a lot of the believers, the FYs and MTs, when they see with all this mud in my eyes, they like, dang, Elijah got all that mud in his eyes. Look at him. Now, I mean, he's supposed to be the messenger of Allah. That's how they looked at Jesus. Like, look, he cruising, getting nails in his hands. Let me see if God going to save him. You know what I mean? It's like, because you're not a real believer. See, we say things. The black man is God. But we ain't trying to live and show and prove that the black man is God. So that liberty captive believers. Ain't no punk behind FOIs going in no belly and no beast liberating their brothers and sisters. If you're a real believer, if we really, truly believe the black man is God, we really believe the white man's the devil, we really believe we the master of the universe and we're going to take back this planet, we would take back this planet. We would go down Greatest Fort, Huntington, Rockville, whatever, the bottom camps closed down now, believers then died in there. You know what I mean? But we ain't trying to really liberate nobody. We talk the talk. You know what I mean? We talk that black power. Yeah, you know what I mean? By any means necessary. It's like, yeah, when it comes to black on black violence, oh, we will definitely kill another believer. We will definitely hate on another believer. We will definitely come after our brother or sister in the struggle. But we ain't doing nothing against these 10% rich slave makers of the poor. We not going up in the belly of the beasts like, yo. Now, we read in the Bible, the angels came down, I mean, they opened up the prison doors. Yo, let's ride. They blinded the guards. Let's ride. You out. That's the real boys. That's them supreme angels that's built like that. I mean, they don't have to be told what to do. They understand the time and what must be done. They serious about this thing. But 99.99% of us scared to death. We talk, I don't fear no one but Allah. Man, you know good and well you scared to death of the devil. And his time was up in 1985 and he's still sitting on the throne like, let me see your punk behind make a move. You ain't making no move. You ain't going against Satan. Because if you go against Satan, he coming against you. Know what I mean? And when you teach the raw teachings of Elijah Muhammad, it's not going to be an easy flight, brothers. It's not going to be easy. You're not going to just be flying around. Man, they going to be hunting them ducks, hunting them birds. They going to be hunting them angels like that. But where they at? I mean, this is the reality of the struggle in which we live. Know what I mean? So the messenger said, these facts are all put there to deepen our knowledge, and time repeats these things.